Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well and hopefully in a very cool destination. Or if not, you are by the beachside enjoying yourself with some margaritas. Today is the last video on this three-part series, where I was talking about how you can master creating impactful wellness concepts. And I used as an example those social entrepreneurs I have worked with in the last 16 years and seeing those who have had success with wellness, what they did differently compared to those who didn't have success. Now, you would think that they probably had a super ninja idea. They probably had the most bling wellness offering, grand facilities, deep pockets, ninja people. They had the whole 9 yards. You would think that is why they had success. But the truth is, the total opposite is the truth. I have seen social entrepreneurs with a limited budget and ordinary talent really having huge success with the wellness concepts. And through these last few weeks, I have been talking about the emotional cycle of change and how that emotional cycle of change has informed my essence framework, and how having success with wellness is not really a fluke. There are actually three simple steps to have success with wellness. And although those steps are very simple, us as humans, we will always try to make things more complicated. Normally, the simpler route is the one that is the hardest to go down. It's far easier to further complicate things. It's far easier to abandon something when you are faced with one obstacle or two obstacles or three obstacles, or you are not seeing the results you had expected when you had expected them. So today, I want to touch on that last part of this three-part series. So, going back to the presentation I have been sharing with you in these last couple of weeks, we are talking about that emotional cycle of change. And the reality is, every single entrepreneur, every single human being who wants to embark on something new, on a new goal, on a new project, on a new venture, whatever it is, we go through this emotional cycle of change. Now, if you remember, when we start something, we are at our highest point emotionally. We are, as I say, in that Mount Stupid, where there is this uninformed optimism. We think that our idea is the best idea, that whatever we're going to do is going to be the best in the world and everything is going to be perfect. And then what happens is, once we start taking the steps to actually go towards our goal or implement our project, we realize it looks so different from what we thought when we were up here in Mount Stupid. Every single human being, every entrepreneur, now talking about what we're talking, goes down that valley of despair, which is phase two. We suddenly get into informed pessimism. We realize that things aren't going well. And if you remember back in the first video, I was talking about when you are going down that valley of despair, when things aren't turning out the way you expected, when you start facing those obstacles, which you naturally will face, that is when you think everyone else is against you. It is everyone else's fault, never yours. And then you hit the lowest point, which is that river of misery. And what happens is we tend to oscillate between Mount Stupid and the river of misery, because being in the river of misery the river of misery is so miserable that we want to get out of it as soon as possible and then jump onto a new idea. Now, those social entrepreneurs who, I was mentioning last week, who had success with their wellness offering, did so because when they were up in Mount Stupid, they ensured that they had that certainty of purpose. They ensured that they went from that state of chaos to clarity, and they equipped themselves and their teams with the right tools and resources to actually elegantly ski down that valley of despair that they knew they were going to enter in. And that was the subject of the first video in this three-part series. And last week, I talked about how once we all inevitably go down that valley of despair and get into the river of misery, this is the most important point. And this is the point that separates those social entrepreneurs who have had success with their wellness offering to those who haven't. The key difference is that when they get into the river of misery, they stay in the river of misery and they work through what they need to work through in order to get out of the river of misery transformed. And today we talk about that phase, how we get into that informed optimism, how we are clear that we are on the right path. And I talked about what helps you navigate past this emotional cycle of change is my essence framework, the 7 stages of the essence of framework. And in the first video, I talked about the importance of getting that certainty of purpose. Because when you don't have that certainty of purpose, you are essentially anchorless. You're in that constant state of chaos. And those social entrepreneurs who have had success have ensured they have gained their certainty of purpose through the 3 stages of the Essence framework: expectation, also known as the perfect wellness framework; concept framework; story, known as the winning plan framework; and system, also known as your special way framework. Because these social entrepreneurs know that it's never the what that makes them special, but how they do things. And as you can see, when they have this certainty of purpose, they are able to attract and retain proud people and also ensure stellar performance once they get past that river of misery. Then last week, we talked about when you're in that river of misery, what sets you apart from everyone else? That is being in that river of misery, that discipline of focus, that steadfastness on where you're headed, why you do what you do, and who you serve. Because those social entrepreneurs who have success know that if they don't have that discipline of focus, they will essentially be like the rest of the people who are capricious, who are in this constant state of getting sidetracked because they're all in constant search for that magic product, brand, or service that will help differentiate their hotel from the next door, from the one next door. And these social entrepreneurs who have that discipline of focus know that there is no magic product, brand, or service. There is no right, perfect offer. They have created, they have ensured that they have the wellness asset from the get-go. And what they do is they make sure they keep their wellness offering as an asset, and they see it past that finishing line. They see it past that river of misery. And what helps them successfully navigate through the river of misery are the 3 stages of execution, also known as the Lean and Ideal Team Framework. It's all about pulling together people who are able and willing to do wellness and hospitality the way you want them to. Ordinary talent who want to do extraordinary work. We're not talking about ninjas here. Navigation is the next stage, and navigation is also known as the course correction framework. These social entrepreneurs know that they're not going to nail the concept the first time round, but they are loyal to the concept and they will work through what they need to in order to make their concept successful. And lastly, they set themselves and their teams up for success through the stage of consistency. Consistency, also known as the glitch prevention framework, is about putting in the right checks in place so that your teams can deliver consistently those transformative experiences that they want to deliver to the guests they want to serve. That is what helps someone successfully work past that river of misery. Now, how do you get into mad transformation? Almost happens as kind of a natural progression from the river of misery, because on the other side of transformative experiences is the lever that drives transformative experiences and stellar performance. And that lever is your seal of difference. And this is all about moving from being insignificant or vanilla to actually being timeless. Because if you don't have the seal of difference, you are essentially vanilla. You get lost in the sea of sameness when it comes to the hospitality and wellness experiences you are delivering. Because essentially, what you are doing is looking at the hotel next door and trying to do it better. But deep down, there is nothing distinctive about what you offer. And in these kind of hotels, your guest won't be able to tell the difference between your hotel and the hotel next door. So those social entrepreneurs who actually get past that river of misery and embrace the seal of difference, they actually go through the 3 key stages of the Essence framework. The first one, engagement. Engagement, also known as the exponential outreach framework, is about how to create a loyal and committed customer base that actively engages with your brand. Then, community is also known as the community fabric framework. These social entrepreneurs know that the only way they can have success is by becoming an integral part of the community, the entire fabric where everything functions smoothly. They know that they're a landmark in their own destination. And lastly, ecosystem, also known as the value creation framework. They know that they cannot just take from the ecosystem. They know they have to make sure that the ecosystem is thriving. They only take what they need and they replenish so that future generations can thrive. So these social entrepreneurs today, moving down the line, who have had that success, they have had so because they've got 3 key outcomes: proud people, they deliver their guests transformative experiences, and they enjoy commercially sustainable businesses without removing from the community or environment in future generations. Instead, they're regenerating and ensuring that future generations thrive. Now, that is the difference. That is what makes that social entrepreneur have success. They have gone down that same path as the ones that haven't. The only difference, they didn't abandon ship when they got into that river of misery. When they were up in Mount Stupid. They prepared themselves so that they went skillfully down the valley of despair. Both the guests, the community, their teams knew that these social entrepreneurs had their backs, even when things weren't turning out the way they expected. And what also drew all these stakeholders was that discipline of focus that these social entrepreneurs had. And then when they did reach that river of misery, which they all do, they did not abandon ship. Instead, they chose to stay loyal and work through what wasn't working, really listening to their people, to the guests, to the community, trying to understand what isn't working, where is the disconnect. And they tirelessly went back to the drawing board to fix what wasn't working instead of throwing the baby away with the bathwater. And once they were equipped with all that detailed knowledge, once they got that perfect concept, is when they went into transformation. That's when they had guests who were raving about their hotel, incredibly high repeat ratios, when they're part of the community, when the community is proud that this hotel is there. And when this hotel doesn't remove, but adds to the community, the environment, to the people, that is when you know you have created a wellness concept that is not only successful, but incredibly impactful. There is nothing ninja about those who have had success. They've just followed a very simple roadmap, certainty of purpose, discipline of focus, and seal of difference. The seal of difference does not come first. It's being clear on what you do, why you do, and who you want to serve, and then staying true to it and committed and having the courage to fix what isn't working. And that is what reinforces your seal of difference. And on that positive note, I wish you all a wonderful day ahead. Take care now.